ultimately, the most inspirational thing would be The Most Dangerous Game, because I've always loved that book. I've always loved that movie. And that was about it. Like everyone goes, oh, it's like sounds like The Running Man, but I was like, God, I don't even remember The Running Man. I remember saw it, I think, a million years ago, but those movies didn't have, they just didn't have anything to do with it. But it's such a simple premise that related to a lot of different movies. But it didn't even come out that way. The way the idea for the movie came about was 100% through the frustration of another movie I was working on. I'd been working on this movie called The Broad Street Bullies for about 2 years. And it just was like sludging along, and it just, you hit that wall where you have to just make the call, this is never gonna happen, or it's gonna take 5 more years to make it happen. And I was on the phone and I go, I guarantee you I can think of a movie where I could make up a movie on the phone right now that we could sell and get made. And I was like, 5 people get kidnapped on Halloween night and they're locked away somewhere and they have to fight crazy clowns for their life. Like just off the top of my head. And that was how it started. And then, you start honing the idea, but it was really just like almost like flippantly thinking, I can say the dumbest thing right now, and I know I can get that movie made faster than it's going to take me to get Broad Street Bullies made. And that's usually true. Because it's a simple premise. It's easy to sell. People get it. There's no confusion. You kind of don't, in a way, because there is not that atmosphere on set ever, because it's about as scary as being in this room. There's the cameras, there's the lights, there's the craft service table, there's the people just standing around. So it never feels like what it is. And in fact, it's the exact opposite. Most of the time, the actors will see the final thing and go like, wow, that didn't seem like what we were doing at the time. There's only been a very few times I've actually been able to keep the mood of what I was trying to do within the set, and that's when you have a 4-wall set. So people really get claustrophobic. So it's really, that's really just for me to keep the pace moving and to keep the actors in the right mindset and to make sure that they can get it. It's all, it's sort of pre-production. Once we walk on set, it's too late. If they're not going to get it, they're not going to get it then. It's just going to be chaos. So it's really just talking with them early, rehearsing if possible, which is almost never possible anymore, and just finding the right people. Because it's really in the casting. If you cast the wrong person, you're spending all day trying to baby step them into this process. Be a disaster. But yeah, it's really just knowing who you're casting and figuring that they'll just nail it because you picked the right person to begin with is the way I do it. I always have specific actors in mind when I write every script, not for every single role, although I wish I did, because it makes it so much easier because you can immediately start writing it in that person's voice. But I always like to just keep growing the people that I work with, the actors, the amount of actors. I bring some people back that I've worked with before. Some of them I haven't worked with for a decade. And then but I always like adding new people to each group just to keep mixing it up. I don't always want it to be the same faces. Someone like Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, he was new. When I had that role in mind, he wasn't the person in mind. Nobody was really in mind. Or Kevin Jackson, who plays Levon. He wasn't. I never knew who Kevin was. He came in and read for the part. He was great. And Poncho, who plays Sickhead, he's new. And there's been a lot of new people. David Urey, who's partners with Lou Temple, is Schizohead. He was new. I had seen him on TV, and I checked it. Like the name will come up, and a casting agent will mention a certain person, and I start investigating what they've done and what they're like. And you can kind of vibe out a certain type of person, I think. Because he would, say David does stand-up comedy, so I'd watch his stand-up and go, oh, this guy seems like, he'd be a good person to add to the group. Because I like people that I don't demand it of anyone by any means, but I like people that seem loose enough that they can improvise to a certain extent, where they're not, although I've had people that I absolutely love to death who did an amazing job, who they couldn't vary one word off a script. If you put a gun to their head, they didn't learn that. They didn't learn that. That's, so actually they panic if you change a word or something. But, a lot of it comes from the fact that with the time frame that I have, 20 days, you need people that who they are. They're going to come in and they're going to give you what you're hoping for. Because sometimes you have an actor, you watch them in movies, you love them, and I've had to do this before. They come in, they don't know their lines, they're horrible to be around, and then you go, I will never finish this movie with this person. And you have to fire an actor that you've loved your whole life.